Coming up on MAV News Monthly, we've got a look into scheduling for next semester, as well as how semester testing is going to look come December.
Several student photographers were recognized at the City Council meeting for showcasing Peace in the Parks.
We highlight several cafeteria workers and the extra hard work they are doing this year.
At the beginning of the month, our 2020 band queen was crowned. We've got a recap of this important night for the band.
Several Southside athletes recently signed on to their colleges. We've got a recap of the signing event, as well as how the athletes are feeling playing their final seasons on campus.
And finally, we detail how one four-legged friend found a home for the holidays. We'll bring you more details on all of these stories right now.
Hello Mavericks, and welcome back to MAV News Monthly, your monthly dose of all things Maverick. I'm Jacob Weaver.
And I'm Emily Fincher, and we've got a great show for you this month. I know it's only been a few weeks since our last broadcast, but we've got so much happening around campus.
Yeah, there really is. There have been a lot more students on campus the past few weeks, and next semester looks to be potentially busier with the elimination of blended learning. For more on this, here's Leen Samman.
Blended learning is proving to be a challenge to many students, leaving many to question, how is scheduling going to look like next semester?
All across the state, students' academic performances have been significantly worse than previous years, with the main culprit being students who struggle with remote learning. The Fort Smith School Board has been trying to bring students with a grade lower than a 70 back to class. But despite the constant phone calls and emails sent to parents, there hasn't been much improvement in students' grades. As a result, the school board is looking into changes in blended and virtual learning going into the second semester.
You know, we're not certain how blended's going to change at this semester. Right now, we're just really talking about it. I think it's important to remember that blended has always been a pilot, right? It was always something we were going to try and kind of see how it's going. I think what we found is across the state, there's been a drop in student performance, and a lot of that has to do with not being in the classroom and not having that face-to-face relationship with the teacher. There's so many students, I think, that really would benefit from being back on campus. And so what we've tried to do right now is to really focus on the students who have below a 70% and get them back in and help them get all the resources they need to pass their classes. Because we want to make sure everybody has the credits for graduation. And then the conversation has been, would we be better off moving students that are doing very well in that into the full virtual environment and then bringing everybody else back to class? We really have liked block schedule. And I don't know how all the students feel about it. I need to get some feedback to figure out what we're going to do for next year. But we really do think it's been successful keeping people out of the hallways so much. There's not nearly as much interaction. We think it keeps students safer. And for the most part, only having 4 classes to prep at night or 3, as opposed to having homework and 6 or 7 classes, I think most of the students have liked the block schedule.
As of now, there aren't AP classes offered through our online course. But the school district is looking into options for those students who want to go virtual while remaining on their AP path.
What we're trying to do with AP students, we have some students that are in very specific classes that are not in Pearson, right? If we've got a student who's in seminar or in research, those classes aren't available in that full virtual environment. So if we make the decision to move the students who are very successful in blended to Pearson, if that's what they choose to do, we're going to give them an opportunity to stay in those very specific classes that they can't get in the Pearson environment. So we're going to make every arrangement we can to make sure every student is in a circumstance where they can be successful.
With students being able to go home during class, there has been some confusion as to how that will factor in for semester testing.
In years past, semester test exemptions were based on both attendance and grades. But due to large number of unresolved and unexcused absences, Southside decided it was only fair to focus on students' grades this year.
The last thing we want to do is attach semester test exemptions to attendance, because can you imagine if you've been home for quarantine, you've been home 14 days, and then all of a sudden you wouldn't get your exemptions anymore. So we don't think that that's a fair way to handle it. So the principal at Northside and I got together and we decided semester test exemptions this year would only be based on grades. So if you have an A, B, or a C in the class, you have the option to not take the test. You can take it to improve your grade, but you can't hurt your grade. The last 3 days before Christmas, it's an A day, and a B day, and then it would have ended on an A day. So what's going to happen is we won't run a different test schedule. On A day, you'll take the tests that you have for A day, because the periods are 90 minutes, so we don't need to adjust the schedule. And on B day, you'll take the tests that you would have had for B day. And then that last day, we're going to run it like we did last year. It's going to be a 7-period bell schedule. Blended students can come in and take their tests on that day if they're uncomfortable taking them during their class periods, or anyone that was sick on one of those 2 days can come. It'll be kind of a makeup/blended test day on Friday.
Although students may feel frustrated with all these changes happening in the middle of the school year, the district wants to emphasize that all of these changes are in the best interest for the students. From Mav Media, I'm Leen Samman.
If the school board decides to eliminate blended learning, there will be remote learning accommodations made for those who may need to quarantine. Personally, I'm glad to be back on campus. I feel that managing my schoolwork will be a lot easier when I'm not tempted to sleep in all day.
Same here. On top of their schoolwork, our Mav Media photographers participated in the Peace in the Park initiative. For more on this, here's Gabby Sullivan.
The city reached out to Northside and Southside journalism students to take pictures of the city's parks. The initiative of this being called Peace in the Parks. Tonight, city officials gathered to recognize the students participating in this project.
Although Northside and Southside have a reputation for rivalry, unity resulted from the students' joint effort to capture the essence of the parks of Fort Smith.
Well, first of all, it wasn't a competition, so typically I think Northside and Southside are used to having that rivalry. In this kind of project, we worked together and we had the same objectives, and it was just about how creative we could be as a team. So Northside and Southside both brought together their creative forces for something that would benefit the community as a whole. There were no winners, there were no losers like you would have in a sports game or something. It was all about, the theme was peace in the parks and bringing a unique perspective from each school into the project.
It interests me because when you're growing up as a child, you always go to the parks. You always see it from a kid's perspective rather than as an adult perspective or as a teenage perspective. So when they gave us this opportunity, it let me go back to a place where I used to go as a child and see it through a different set of eyes and watch the kids play and watch the kids have fun and see why I wanted to be there and why I grew up and wanted to keep going with my family. When Ms. Colyer originally told me that she would like me to speak, it was a little nerve-wracking for me, and it helps. Like, I can put that on my portfolio or I can put that on my resume as I were to speak in front of the mayor and like the city of directors. So it was just a huge opportunity and I would never change it.
The ceremony left students with a certificate of appreciation in hand and the satisfaction of truly bringing peace to the parks. From Mav Media, I'm Gabby Sullivan.
Congrats to all the photographers who were recognized at the ceremony. Those pictures really captured the beauty of fall around town.
Speaking of fall, Thanksgiving is just around the corner, and we here at Mav Media want to take the time to thank the cafeteria workers at Southside for the extra work they are putting in this year. Due to construction taking place where the cafeteria used to be, the cafeteria workers don't currently have a place to cook on campus.
Well, we don't have ovens, we don't have real sinks, so it's difficult.
Instead, hot food is cooked at the Grand Avenue Baptist Church and then delivered by a delivery truck for both breakfast and lunch. Items that can be prepared cold, such as salads, are made in the South Gym.
We come in and check our records, see what we have for the day, and we prep all morning long for lunch.
With the new cafeteria opening soon, the cafeteria workers are excited about the larger space and variety of foods to be offered to students.
Everything's going to be new for all of us. I'm new here, and so it's already new, but to be over there, it's going to be exciting.
To all of our cafeteria workers who are going above and beyond this year, thank you so much on behalf of all the students. And now, it's time for your Southside Bulletin. It's looking to be a pleasant weekend as we get closer to Thanksgiving. Bad news to those looking forward for more winter-feeling weather, as highs are in the mid-70s and lows are in the mid-50s for Friday and Saturday. A bit of cooler weather is expected for Sunday, as a potential of rain brings the lows down to the upper 30s.
Fall break is next week, but we have our first virtual learning days Monday and Tuesday.
Each day will have a 2-hour learning block consisting of math, English, science, and social study classes. Elective courses are not included in this block, so be sure to use this time to make up any late work. For more specific times, check the link that was emailed to your school email as well as in the video description. Attention FBLA members, be sure and check the FBLA's Instagram page for November updates. Remember to sign up for the Sora Reading app. Reading or listening to a book puts you in a weekly drawing for a prize.
Junior Council is sponsoring their annual Poinsettia fundraiser. Poinsettia tickets are $15 and can be picked up in room 163.
Student Council is sponsoring a coin drive to benefit the Whitney Marsh Foundation. Bring your coins into your second hour class. As a bonus incentive, every $10 collected in your class jar equals one ticket that is entered into a raffle for each student in the winning class to receive an individually wrapped meal from Chick-fil-A. Are you a club member or advisor who would like to include your updates on our broadcast, or simply have a news story you feel merits coverage? Check out our Mav Media tip line to link any potential stories or updates that you may have.
Links are available in the description, as well as on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages at Mav Media.
Earlier this month, the Band Queen ceremony took place right here at Jim Rollins Stadium. For more on this, here's Bianca Perlera.
COVID-19 has put a lot of events on hold this year, but thanks to tireless efforts of band parents, students, and directors, the Band Queen ceremony still went on as normal with minimal adjustments.
This year, some minor adjustments were made to the usual festivities to account for COVID-19. Instead of student escorts, each candidate was walked onto the field by a family member. In addition, each candidate was spread apart both on the field and when seated. Despite these few changes, Band Queen Night was still memorable for each of the candidates.
Alright, so Band Queen is important because it raises money to help band out. It raises money for instruments to help clean them. It raises money to help us do cool stuff like this and go on fun trips. But since COVID, we can't really do those, but it helps us do a lot of fun things, and it makes band.
At the end of the ceremony, Anna Anders was crowned this year's Band Queen. This one resulted from a culmination of a student vote, as well as tireless efforts from Anna's committee.
I was kind of in disbelief. I really didn't expect to win, so it was kind of a feeling, like, not really a feeling, but it was just like very surprising. I did a lot of fundraising. I wrote a letter and I reached out to family members, friends, and businesses around the Portsmouth area and received really good feedback from that. It feels great to be recognized by the band for my hard work, but it also feels great to represent the drumline within the band because it's been a while since we've had a drumline queen, so it feels really good to represent my family.
And getting to end the season with high spirits was an unforgettable experience for many of the students. For Mav Media, I'm Bianca Perlera.
As volleyball is wrapping things up and softball is beginning their season, several Southside athletes have signed on to their colleges.
After being committed for several months, softball players Maddie Conklin and Malia Hunter and volleyball players Avery Fitzgerald and Hannah Hogue signed on to their respective colleges on the 11th.
Oh my gosh, I've been waiting for 4 years now to make this official. I committed in my freshman year, and all my life I've wanted to be a Razorback, and going to this school, it's a dream. So finally being able to sign it and make it real, it's a dream come true.
It's exciting. I'm excited to make that next step towards college. It feels great knowing that they have achieved the same thing that I have. I mean, they're going to D1, NCAA things, but I'm just happy that we all got signed together. It's nice.
Feels really good to finally be a part of that family. They're like a really big family atmosphere, and so finally signing and being a part of that feels amazing. It feels really good knowing that being a part of, or being teammates with Hannah, we both made each other a lot better. So knowing that we both accomplished everything we wanted to so far in life is amazing, because I'm so proud of her and I know she's proud of me.
Yeah, so ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to go to Arkansas, and now signing is just a dream come true. Yeah, I've grown up with these all three of them, so it was really cool to be able to sign with them and know all of our hard work's paid off.
Each player came in early to decorate their tables, and after a short speech by their coaches, they signed on to their colleges. Signing ceremonies have been a tradition for quite a while, and as Coach Michael Beaumont explains, are very important.
You know, I think that it has that culmination feeling, that finality of, wow, I'm here. It's also National Signing Day, so that letter of intent has to be faxed to the colleges. So this is an exciting day for all, and it's a cause for celebration, so this is a great way to do it. From one high school, 2 different sports, we have 2 kids going for volleyball and 2 going for softball, and that just kind of tells you right now what the level of our programs in this division is in the state of Arkansas here at Southside High.
With Thanksgiving just around the corner, here's Kathryn Wilson with how one fuzzy friend around campus found a home for the holidays.
You may have noticed that Southside has had a 4-legged friend wandering around campus, and that dog has been on the campus for months. Till just recently, Mr. Jones has took him into his home for where he has been staying for the past several days.
I named this guy Oscar because he was a little wild. A lot of folks at Southside have been seeing him for all year long out here. And I noticed him watching people go in and out.
The dog, now named Oscar, has been spotted wandering around campus ever since June, exploring construction sites and other spots around the south side.
Of course, like everybody else, when you would call him, he wouldn't come to me. I started tossing him food, and this was about 2 weeks ago, probably 2.5 weeks ago. I think that started winning him over, and I would toss it to him. Each time I would get him to come a little closer. And then I started getting him to eat it out of my hand.
Mr. Jones wasn't the only one to help Oscar, though. Several other teachers, such as Mrs. Hines, had also been helping the dog by giving him food and water while he was still living around campus.
It was the beginning of school. We were taking our kids to the bus, and the dog was out there. He was out there in the mornings usually, sometimes in the afternoons. And we've been feeding him since the beginning of school. We made a little bed out of a Rubbermaid container and put blankets in it and covered it and put it in an area outside that it wouldn't get rained on. We left food bowls. I came up at night and on weekends, and Jamie Chance would feed him outside her window to get him comfortable with her voice. Well, he would just sit down and roll and stretch out, and he actually got comfortable enough that I could sit down on the sidewalk and he would sit down beside me, but he wouldn't let me touch him.
Many students and teachers tried to take him in, but in the end, Oscar ended up finding a new place to call home.
We never really decided we wanted him, but about 2 weeks ago when it rained really bad for 2 or 3 days, he was running around, shivering, wet, cold, and it's just hard to see a little animal like that that's suffering. And you just want to help him. So
he finally let Mr. Jones he got up in his lap and he let him pick him up.
And that day, this was after school, that day he followed me out to my Jeep, and I was going to pick him up, but he like squealed and tried to run away. And so what I did was I just took a blanket and put it on the ground because he had followed me to my Jeep, and he jumped on the blanket and started whining, and then I just picked up the blanket and got in the Jeep and drove home with him. He's stretched out on the couch. Every day he gets a little happier and freer, and you can't tell it right now. When he's happy, he jumps all over the place and, wags his tail and runs, and so he's feeling like he's safe enough to be at home, feel at home.
And now he is living with Mr. Jones, I believe. He took him home with him, so I think he's got a good home now. So that's a happy ending.
Mr. Jones wasn't initially looking for another dog, but I'm sure Oscar will be happy to be in a home for this holiday season. For Math Media, I'm Kathryn Wilson.
That dog is the sweetest thing.
He really is. That's all we have for our show for you today. Thanks for tuning in.
Be sure and turn on the notifications and subscribe to our YouTube channel to be notified for all of our updates. And before we go, I just wanted to thank all of our viewers. Just recently, we were announced the Video Program of the Year at the Ozarks Media Arts Festival. We would not be here without your support, and we hope that there will be many awards to come. With that being said, have a fantastic Thanksgiving, and thanks for watching.